are Skink Skirmishers, any good in patch 5.1. I'm going to say with no special disrespect meant, no. They cannot be called good in a roster where Chameleon Skinks exist. This said, they are not useless. Their availability is almost top tier, and they do have some redeeming virtues of note. All that said, many people shun them because skink cohorts with javelins also exist, and this will be our frame of comparison throughout. Recruited for 400 gold and 100 upkeep. See? Just like the javelin skins. The Tier 1 skink building gets you a unit with 120 entities and 6,000 health for a cohort like 50 health per entity. Now that's 40 less than a skink cohort for entities, but it's more than quite a few missile units in the game. This is one of the redeeming features. At this price, 120 dart poofers are okay. Armor is 30 as in not worse than other skinks, which is a plus. No shields though. Leadership is 50, which is notably shaky. Speed is 48, charge speed 52. That is, the normal running speed is slightly faster than regulars, but charging speed isn't. Melee attack begins at 16, which is why you do not want them in melee. That's horrid. Attack interval is 4.3, so no boost there. No splash damage either. Melee defense starts at a miserable 14, but that's part of the unit balancing. Weapon strength is 25, split between 20 base, and armor piercing 5, identical to normal skins. Charge bonus is 8, and mass is 70. I mean, seriously, Empire archers are beefier. For range, the default is 26 units of ammunition, which is fairly healthy, and here we meet our true difference from the javelins. Javelins do front-loaded damage, and then it's gone. For the blow darts, range is 70, which is not hugely far. Missile damage is officially 13, but each ranged hit inflicts poison, and that's the other big component of what I just said. Skink Skirmishers can keep reapplying poison over the course of a long battle without needing to be in melee. This is mostly a factor when in hybrid armies with Saurus frontliners, but that's something you want to support anyway. Per dart, base damage is 6 and armor piercing 2 per hit, so per impact this is a weak weapon. 1 dart per skink per volley. Reload time is a mere 6. Total accuracy is 20, calibration distance a restrained 45, calibration area 3.6, so this is not a reliable anti-character tool, much as you wish it was. There is a small penetration cap, and max targets penetrated after the first is 2, but this is highly unreliable. For traits, the unit has the Primal Instincts buff if below 50% health, can hide in forest, can have Constant Sphere if a Kroq-Gar unit is nearby nowadays, has Vanguard deployment for extra utility, and has fire whilst moving. Put bluntly, if not for the latter, this unit would be completely unusable in practice. In contrast, marching them up to the enemy's grill, spewing darts all over the place and inflicting poison and running for the hills and friendly lines is classic skirmishing behavior. The problem with this is that they have 0 special defenses. Spell, bullet, arrow, caught in melee, the ways to wreck skirmishers are myriad, so you just can't be complacent at all. On the other hand, this is a unit where skirmish mode actually sort of works, so you can let them dart while fleeing and they'll still inflict poison and inflict a steady trickle of damage. In the red lane skills, Skirmisher adds up to plus 6 melee attack and plus 6 melee defense, almost bringing them up to respectable numbers, with weapon strength plus 12% and missile strength plus 8%. Spawn Kin grants the odd rank 7 survivors leadership plus 5, melee defense another plus 5, and missile resistance 15%, that last one being particularly helpful since the range means they'll be constantly in enemy missile range in normal situations. I'll gloss over the tech tree from recent videos. More techs, good stuff. Poison in melee is a luxury they don't start with. You don't want them in melee at all generally, but if they catch up to an Empire crossbowman unit and just attack in melee, the poison helps. I didn't mention it a couple of videos ago, but guard mode would let a skirmisher unit like this blow some darts when line of sight allows, despite the front row being in contact with a melee unit. Better than going all melee. Now, how do you use Skink Skirmishers? I won't beat around the bush much for this. Because javelins exist, but javelins can't fire whilst moving, you want skirmishers to take a lot of the first hits because that's a lot of what they're good for. They simply can't take the punishment and have to inflict token damage and run away. Then, as the battle gets messier, they'll slowly rack up damage against normal forces. If they get caught, assume they are finished. Beyond that, anti-air. I'm not kidding at all. With friendly line protection, enemy flying units coming in to challenge your lures and heroes or stuff like that can be fired upon with near impunity, and if a dragon roasts a few, well, better than the dragon roasting your red-crested skinks or Saurus spears, that's the blunt truth. Anti-air means that within the dart range, stuff can't just loiter around forever. Even for dragons, 2 AP from 120 entities with 6 reload time starts to add up. Hell Pit Abominations and regular giants start seeing real HP loss over time. In other words, if what you need is missile damage that won't run out easily, and that is out in the open, no stock, no tricks, just raw damage, the skirmishers are fine, especially at the price point. I would never lose sight that they are expendable by nature, and I don't mean the trait, I mean just expendable in the grand scheme of things. But that's not to say they fail to contribute. Over a long fight, that ammunition is decent enough. It's hard to go into weaknesses with a unit that has so many, but the one that really hurts is enemies with shields. You're desperate enough for damage as it is. Seeing Skeleton Spearmen from Tomb Kings clatter off 55% of your missiles is just insulting. You have the mobility to get around bats. Use it whenever feasible. If not, you live with what you can get with limited line of sight, which is why the anti-air roll was important to point out. Finally, some thought I was dropping the ball not mentioning rights, so I'll mention the right of Sotek buffs skinks generally, to make them much stronger short term, and this includes a 20% missile strength buff. Like I said, you're desperate for every point of damage. Take care, and have fun heroically darting the cavalry that just ran over your lone Sora Scar veteran while you keep your distance. I'm mentioning this because it's an actual good tactic. Anything that slows something down and gives you an angle to shoot is a good thing, so work for those opportunities.